Hey everyone, welcome back to Tech Talk with O. So, Apple completed their Let Loose event, and it was an iPad announcement. iPad Air, iPad Pro, and Apple Pencil Pro. So, we're going to try to speed right through, talk about the iPad Pros, the iPad Airs, and the Apple Pencil Pro, and then I'll give you my thoughts. iPad Airs, there wasn't much to talk about. It went from 10.9 inch screen to 11 inch screen. There's a bigger model at 13 inches. The camera moved to the landscape side. They have two new colors, purple and blue, to go along with their Starlight and their Space Gray. Now they went from M1 to an M2 chip, so better speeds, better processing, better performance. Everything's better except the battery. We're still stuck at 10 hours, which is still great battery life. It's just for the last 10 years we've been stuck at 10 hours. I thought eventually at some point they're gonna increase the speed of the charging and increase the battery life. But regardless, they have better speakers on the 11 inch now, and even more better speakers on the 13 inch. And then lastly, their iPad Air still starts at $599, which is awesome. And then if you want to go up to the 13 inch, it's going to be $799. Next up, the star of the show is the iPad Pro. So honestly, with this event, I was thinking like, what are they going to do? Like another iPhone update? What are they going to do? You know, add titanium and not do much else. And then we seen the iPad Air, and I was thinking like, okay, little basic things, and then they have a new size. So what's the iPad Pro going to be about? This was very surprising. They did a lot of really nice things. Starting with the size, it was so thin. They compared it to the iPod Nano. Really, you could have just put it next to the pencil because it looks slimmer than the pencil is. They have the 11 inch model still, and now instead of the 12.9 inch model, they have a 13 inch model. They still kept the silver color, but now instead of space gray, they have a space black color. Then for the screens, finally, we get OLED. Not just OLED, tandem OLED, which is two OLED screens put together. It's supposed to be more battery efficient, make brighter colors, make more colors, make it look more natural color. And like I said, with it being so thin, I was really surprised that they stacked two OLEDs together and they got it to be that thin. It looks remarkable. Instead of calling it OLED, they're going to call it
the Ultra Retina XDR.
There's another iPad Pro though, this one with a nano texture, which basically means the glass that goes on top of our phones, our tablets, everything. This is nano textured, so better against glare and against bad light situations. Basically less reflective, but the problem is the only way to get it is to pick a 1 terabyte option. Then the next big thing was they went to M4. I was so surprised because even in my rumors and leaks video, I was talking about how there's a rumor they might go to M4, and I was like, that's not going to happen. Apple's going to go to M3 and then make you upgrade to the next one when M4 comes out. So like I said, going from M2 to M4, huge shocker. I'm really happy about that. I think they're going to actually announce more things in their next WWDC. So when they announce the new iOS updates, the iPad updates, the iPhone 16 updates, all that stuff, they're going to say, look what the iPhone can do now, and then look what your iPad can do now. But so far, so good. So next, they're talking about the camera. They're talking about all the improvements and how it's amazing. But one thing they neglected to mention is, why is the 10 megapixel ultra wide lens missing? I'm all for improving items and increasing what they're going to give us. Why are you taking out things completely? I at least could have kept it there and left it the same. I don't know. So for the 11 inch, it went from $799 to $999. And the 13 inch went from $1099 to $1299. One thing is, they do start at 256 gigabyte instead of 128 gigabyte. They might help a little bit considering that the additional storage used to cost the extra 100 anyway. I guess it depends on how you look at it, but still a lot. Next, they did talk about the Magic Keyboards. They added the function row. They made the trackpad wider. Everything else pretty much the same. They kept the price the same. So that was pretty cool. So we'll talk more about the iPad later, but first we're just going to talk about the Apple Pencil. So the new Apple Pencil Pro kept the price at $129, which is really cool, especially for now it has the Find My feature. They added haptic feedback. Some people think that's not a big deal, but honestly, it's super important. I use the S Pen a lot, and sometimes I'm pressing on something and I'm just moving it, and I'm like, oh, it didn't move. And I just got to keep doing it, and sometimes it's just not moving where I want it to move, or not clicking. It's not often, but it's still annoying when it happens. So haptic feedback would have been really cool. Another thing they added, the squeeze gesture, which brings up the Samsung Air commands. It's really nice to have those little shortcuts right there in front of you, so that's nice. Last was a gyroscope inside, twisting things around and doing a couple of neat things. One thing that really sucks, it's only going to work on these new iPads. So the new iPad Air with the M2 processor and the new iPad Pro with the M4 processor. It's not going to work on any of the old iPad Pros and any of the old iPad Airs or anything else. Even though the old iPad Pros have the M2 chip, it's not going to matter. What they're saying is, because of where the camera is now on the landscape side, that they had to move the magnets and rearrange the magnets. This pencil will only work on these tablets and not any other tablets. That sucks. I really wish they would have allowed it to be backwards compatibility. Especially, like I said, these things that cost so much. It would have been cool. But so in my last video about the leaks and rumors, one thing on my wish list was I hope they don't discontinue the 9th gen iPad. So they discontinued it. But the good news is the 10th gen iPad now went down $100 from $449 to $349.